Hi guys, I'm Mary Money Matters, here with,
Dr. Metz, your go-to life coach.
so we're going to talk about,
Let's talk about Ozempic and how it's related to money and whether or not it helps with money. We talked briefly last time. You were mentioning that there's studies or there is conspiracies that slimness and skinness leads to more
good
money.
looks, leads to earning more money. Your earning potential definitely goes up. There's stats to prove it.
And do you think people are trying to lose more weight because of that?
Yeah, I think they're trying to lose weight because it makes them more valuable of an asset, whether it's with employment or just confidence. I think it boosts your confidence where just indirectly it will make your earning potential more because since you're more confident, people will just gravitate towards you and want to work with you.
So there's actually some studies done about being fit and making money too, from a different perspective. So when you're fit, you're more likely to be disciplined. You're more likely to show up for yourself. And when you walk into a room where you're going to make a deal, those people are subconsciously starting to trust you because you showed up for yourself. Body is something we cannot buy, we cannot steal. It's us working on it ourselves, making it whatever we want to make it. So that shows determination, that shows discipline, that shows consistency, and that leads to more deals and more money.
Yes, 100%. Imagine going to an interview before you said anything. They already know you're disciplined. They already know you stick to your word. They already know that you prioritize well your time because maybe you have a career and kids and you still make time for your body. So it shows a lot of different attributes about you that will resonate in your job as well. So people could say a lot about your body.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. However, I am seeing a huge trend, and as a pharmacist, I cannot let this go. I'm seeing a huge trend on Ozempic, and I have to say that if you are on Ozempic and if you're using it without any prescription, without your doctor's approval, I am personally, as a pharmacist, I'm not for it. Are there other ways to lose weight? Yes. Can it be resorted to as last case scenario if you're absolutely overweight to a point that it's affecting your health? Also, yes. But I'm seeing people that are completely within normal weight and normal BMI and they're using Ozempic. It has so many side effects. Someone that's on Ozempic should be on Ozempic with a physician's approval, someone who knows your whole history when it comes to your health, and not just use because your friend is using it or because you know someone who lost 15 pounds. Because guess what happens when you're off of Ozempic?
You'll gain it right back.
It comes right back.
Yeah, my husband was saying that it's the principles and the habits that you have to create to lose the weight. And since they didn't naturally create any of that, the second they're off it, they're going to go back to exactly what they were doing. And it goes back to, we were talking about working out, which dedicates time and planning and a lot of other things that go into working out, right? And that builds confidence. So I don't know if it will have the same effect on your income when you lost weight off of Ozempic because you didn't actually make those habits and you didn't actually build confidence.
And you didn't get those endorphins that help
No,
with
you didn't.
the exercises. Yes.
And people who work out, I feel like just glow a different way. Like when
They do. It gives you so much more energy. It's not about necessarily eating less, which is what Ozempic is technically doing. It's making you feel full faster and it makes you feel full for a longer period of time. When you're working out, there's a completely different set of hormones involved. You're glowing differently, just like you mentioned. You're more satisfied. You feel
You do. You feel good about yourself. You feel like you conquered
Yes.
the day before it even started.
Exactly. Like we were talking before the cameras went on and everything, how working out in the beginning of your day sets you up for success.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of all those hormones, because of everything that starts once you start working out. Is it easy? Not really. Does it show discipline? Absolutely.
Yeah. And we were talking about I'm first to admit that I've come off of my habit of working out. I used to work out a lot. And now it's just I prioritize work and I don't prioritize myself. And I prioritize everything before working out. And it takes a toll on your confidence because you're putting yourself on the back burner.
Exactly.
And you're putting other things like work and that are probably not as important as yourself, because if you're not feeling good and you're not healthy, then everything in your life is going to suffer.
When you're healthy, you want 1,000 things. But when you're sick, you're just like, want that one thing where you just want health.
Yeah, and I think America suffers with this the most because we have such an abundance of everything, and we think that, oh, not today, tomorrow, it'll be there tomorrow. But you don't know if you're always going to have the ability to work out. And I did read a study where it said like every hour you worked out, even a fat person working out will outlive a healthy, skinny person that doesn't work out.
Yes. So just because working out with low, high impact, and even if you're working out, like working out is like about 150 minutes a week is considered a good average.
150 minutes?
Yeah, 150 minutes a week is considered a good average for you to work out. And if you are hitting that, when we're talking about like chronic illness, we're talking about osteoarthritis, we're talking about all the diseases, working out is probably one of the things that's recommended the most, with obviously lifestyle changes. But when it comes to medications, most of the time, exercise and diet helps with diabetes. It helps with blood sugar, diabetes. It helps with cholesterol. It helps with blood pressure. And the people do come off of medication once they do start working out and they do start incorporating lifestyle changes. You will come off of medication. It's not like you're set on it. So I can absolutely see it. Once even like a bigger person working out may outlive a tinier person just because they have a completely different set of chemicals running through their body.
Also, it gives you clarity. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times I've had like genius business ideas pop into my head as I'm like running.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, but I can't think of that idea like if I'm driving, and I write it down and everything. And then if you just think about it like scientifically, like the flow of oxygen to your brain increases, which is going to allow you to have more clarity.
Yes.
And then your blood flow, everything just.
I had two crazy ideas while I was on the treadmill. Two of which
Was one of them this?
one of them was this. That I was like, I'm gonna immediately text her because you posted something about making it normal to talk with friends about business, money and
ideas.
investment. And I loved it so much because I'm always around people in different circles. Some people talk about business, some people talk about other things. And I'm noticing how uncommon it is for people to share growth with other people. It's like everybody's like so scared that if they bring like even the slightest idea of an investment. For example, let's talk about investments for a second. Let's say you're investing into a stock market, you're buying off shares for a certain company. It's so unlikely for people to share why.
I know, I share it all the time, and I actually get like negative feedback from my husband and other people saying like, why would you share that? Or like, why would you share your business like that? But I want everybody to thrive. I want everyone to succeed, right? And it's like, or my business ideas. I will openly share business ideas that are literally like genius, and I'll tell the person, I know I'm not going to do it, so please go do it.
Does the person do it?
I can't think of the ones I've shared, but like sometimes the most brilliant ideas, and as someone who has more time on their hands, or like I know I can't do everything, so I know I'm not going to go do it. But I just thought of a problem I solved for someone. So obviously that's a business idea, and I'm like, please go do it. And why don't we just encourage more of this and enable our friends and family to do more and be more and share this? And like, I kind of understand too, like because crypto, for example, there was a while that I love talking about crypto. I love talking about investments.
I don't know much about crypto, so I'm all ears.
So I don't know much either. All I just know is that it's decentralized, which I love that the government doesn't control. It's deflationary, where it's the opposite of inflationary.
So it grows.
So it doesn't, like there is a limited supply of it. There is not, and whenever.
However much they can mine, right?
Yeah, however much. And then there is also like burning of it too. So like there's an increase in currency and a decrease in currency, which keeps it like deflationary, which I like. But those are the two main reasons why I love it, that there's no government control and that there is a limited supply of it. So that means that somehow it will hold the value, and obviously the value is perceived value of whatever people value it at, because the more they buy it, the more the price goes up. So it's like the power went back to the people. So that's why I love crypto. Now,
Do you own crypto?
I do own crypto.
Okay. I don't. No, actually I do. I invested like $100 in it. It's all gone. But
Yeah, no, I believe in crypto. I do invest in crypto, but this is what would happen. So I would tell people this, and they would be like, "Oh, what should I buy?" Now that's the part I don't feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, it's gambling, because it's what
It's a risk.
It's a risk, and it's what people value it at. If, let's say, and I always tell this to people, if the president of the United States or Elon Musk or Kim Kardashian, anyone with some kind of influence, gets on social media and just bashes, I don't know, Bitcoin or some kind of cryptocurrency, that coin most likely is going to go down, because
I mean,
people are
Elon
going to...
Musk made a coin off of one speech, didn't he?
Doge?
Yes.
Yeah. So Doge, so Elon pumps and dumps this thing like no tomorrow. He says one thing to the moon, and then it goes down and back up and
He
down.
literally made a currency with one speech.
So people need to understand that influential people can influence their pockets, because if
Yes.
you invest, it could literally like decrease your pocket. So that's why I don't feel comfortable giving the advice of like, oh yeah, this is a great coin. And neither does my husband, so he stops me. But I love cryptocurrency. I love investing, but I know the risks. I'm okay with it becoming nothing.
Yeah, would you say that once people start investing, do you think they need to be okay with the risk? And how do you explain it to people that they like it's not
My
it's,
husband explains it like iron balls. Like you cannot, like it's gonna go up and down and up. And so did my professor. My professor would be like, you need to have some major like for this, because it will go up and down. And if you put like, let's say you worked so hard for this money, and everybody works hard for their money, but if you put all your eggs in this basket and this thing just tanks, your things are gonna drop. Like it's not gonna feel good. So if you have discipline, if you have like a non-emotional attachment to that money, then do it.
I love that. But do you think people have a
No, I
non-emotional
don't.
idea?
I think people are very emotionally attached to money. To me, money is just a tool.
It is a tool. And talking about like a little bit of scarcity and abundance, once you start seeing money as a tool and just as a currency, that's when you go into an abundance mindset. Because people with scarcity mindset, they look at money as a safety blanket. They look at money as security. They make a dollar be worth way more than a dollar, which is why the saving for the future, saving for the rainy day, and hence not investing.
I had a client say this very nicely to me, and he pretty much said like people weren't doing weed, doing this, doing that, and now they've lost it all because it's not doing so good and they don't know what else to do. And I was like, oh, like that's not a big deal. He's like, it's easy for you to say, because even if you had zero today, you'd figure out what to do to make money. You just know how to make money. Like, and to me, that's like, it's like a no-brainer type of thing. It's not something that I think of that it's like some unique attribute or asset, like to make money. You just work, right? But people can't put the two and two together to work, or people don't have maybe those skill sets, because there's skilled labor and then there's
Non-skilled.
physical labor.
Yes. But I feel like everyone can make money. What the problem is that people are looking for quick money, and they're looking for a lot of money
And
in the beginning.
excuses, like,
and excuses.
and they're looking for excuses. Like, okay, someone comes to me and goes like, "Oh, the economy is so bad." I'm like, I know Uber drivers making like $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Oh, well, I don't like to drive. Okay, you just said you needed money, because I'm the type of person that if I need to drive, I'm gonna get in there and drive if that's what I need to do.
Yes.
So it's like, what are you willing to do to make money?
A lot of times, not much. They get very picky with what they want to do, because a lot of times you look at what the person, like let's say social media, right? We look at social media all the time. You see successful people on social media all the time, but you don't see what they put in there. No one sees the late nights. No one sees the early mornings. People just see, oh, she's doing this. She's successful. I can just do the same thing and tomorrow I'll be equally successful. So no, they don't want to sit in the Uber and drive, because on social media, someone is showing up 3 times a day and they're successful. So they think they can do the same. And that ends up anxiety, depression, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth, constant comparison to social media, and then that oozes into real life.
Yeah, and they don't want to get out of their comfort zone.
Oh no.
One time someone asked me, how do you get all your clients? And I was like, word of mouth, they just come. But if I had no clients today, I would go door knock. And I would do it like having fun, because that's part of the process. Everything you do, you just have to remember that's part of the process. One day you'll look back and you'll be like, oh, remember those days? My mentors that were like 35 years in my same industry started door knocking like in Compton. So everybody pays their dues.
Absolutely.
You can't just like jump to the top.
No.
You work your way up. And I think that's the difference. Someone who recognizes that and someone who doesn't.
I could not agree more. When I just started social media, it was so out of my comfort zone, because on my personal page, last time I posted was 2017. We're in 2023
You do it very well.
Thank you very much. But yes, right? So you see the doing well part, but you're not seeing months of work that I had to do in my mind, that I need to be okay to be on camera. I need to be okay talking. I need to be okay sharing my opinion. Ask me last year if I would ever sit with someone else in front of however many cameras we have here and openly discuss my opinion, I would think you're crazy.
Yeah, and you would probably worry about what people think.
Oh my god!
If you don't drop, so I think that's the number one key to success. The second you stop caring about what other people think is the second that you will live for yourself. And when you live for yourself, you will do whatever it takes to make yourself successful.
Absolutely. And you will start seeing opportunities in places. Like, for example, if I cared what people are going to think, I would never have reached out to you, right?
Yeah.
You would never have agreed. We would not be sitting here. But it's very mind-blowing to see how much people care. And because we're here for money, let's talk about how much people care about other people's opinion, that they're willing to sacrifice their majority of their bank accounts to look like they're someone they're not.
Oh yeah, that's a huge problem right now. I was watching this reel that popped up in my Explorer. It was like all the countries' winners, like Miss whatever.
You know, like Miss Universe and
yeah,
stuff?
they all look the same. I was like, how is this different countries? Literally, I wish I could find that video to show you. They looked identical. There was nothing different about Miss Africa to Miss America to... I'm like, what's going on? All had the lips like
Perfectly shaped.
Perfectly. The nose was like the same person probably did all their noses at once, got a discount. Like it was
a pre-party.
and it's like that's also like confidence, right? And I've realized this with talking to so many women that do all that work, is that within they're the least confident people, even though they've had all that work done.
Absolutely. Someone can have all that work done and be the most confident. Someone can have no work done and be the most confident. But a lot of times, for example, like let's say you see a bag, right? You want. A lot of times people think they want that because they want the emotion the other person is feeling having it. So these people like Miss Universe and everyone, right? Or whoever gets, I'll be honest, I have had work done. And when I get the work done, I'm not getting it to look like a certain person, because once I do that, that's when the confidence is out. But I personally, speaking for myself, I've done it to just augment my own natural beauty, and I'm completely okay with it. However, there are people that literally take photos from a magazine, and they go into their injector's room and they say, I want to look like this. And Instagram filters and Snapchat filters, they're not helping. I've put a filter on once on myself, and I did not recognize myself. It's so scary. And people are doing it every day.
Imagine the emotional like wear and tear it takes on you.
Absolutely.
Where you think you look this way because your feed is like these filters, and then you wake up and you look in the mirror and you realize, and it's just like an emotional roller coaster. Like psychologically, it's probably messing people up
all the
just
time.
The Instagram filters alone, because and then it's like you're choosing what to be like. You're literally swiping. Do I feel like looking like
Left
this?
or right?
Or do I want to look like this today? It's like, when did you get a choice to look a different way with a swipe?
But that's the reality we live in today, and people fall for that. People fall for the filters. People fall for that Instagrammable life. I know people who literally invest let's say they make $1,000 a month, right? I've seen people invest 800 of that 1,000, and this is probably gonna not shock you too much, but make your heart hurt because of who you are by profession. But
I don't know if I'd call it invest.
well, spend.
Spend.
Yes, let's say spend. Spend 800, so 80% of their income on things they cannot afford. Like there is no reason. I don't want to offend anyone, but there is no reason a G-Wagon should come out of an apartment. What do you think about
There is
that?
no reason for anybody to drive a G-Wagon, I feel like. I think the car was meant for military in the first
That's
place.
what it was made for.
Not the streets of LA.
Is there an actual formula that says, I've heard this somewhere, and I don't know if it exists or not, but I heard there's a formula that if your house costs like $100, your car should cost like $30. Is there a thing?
There's a formula that your cost should be like 50, your house should be like 50% of your income.
We're talking about annual, like the whole house cost?
Monthly.
Monthly, okay.
Yeah.
So your mortgage should be 50% of your, okay. And then what your car should be like?
Yeah, and that's on the high side.
And what's the car?
The car should be like 10% of your income.
10% of your income. And I'm seeing people, 80% of their income is their car.
Oh yeah, no, because to them they want to show it, right? If they show it, it goes back to the confidence thing we were saying. They're lacking something and they need to like make up for it, and that's the way they feel like they're making up for it.
But how much confidence are you gaining by wiping out your bank account?
Well, they think they're fooling people. So they're thinking like when they're in the car, like other people think they're at a certain status level because we think cars, we associate cars with status levels, we associate nice clothes with status levels. And
I would love to be in the room with Steve Jobs, Elon Musk.
and they don't wear
Zero.
any designer.
I think it was Jeff Bezos. He had an interview from like 19 something. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's driving a Honda and they're asking, how much are you making? And he's like, I'm making like millions. And they're like, you're driving a Honda? He's like, yeah, because it takes me from point A to
yeah,
point
and someone else driving a G-Wagon would be like, oh, that's an idiot. They're not enjoying their money. Like, we only live once. Like,
I mean, I don't know. Where are you on this spectrum? I feel like I'm in a sweet middle.
I think I was a Jeff Bezos for a while. For a while. Like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I worked throughout all of college. And I mean, I made decent wages and I saved and I invested even back then, like making minimum wage, 16, 17, 18. I drove a car that didn't have AC. I kept it for 10 years. I went all the way to college with it, university with it, until like it was just time. Until
the car gave up on you before you gave up on the car, let's be honest.
The car definitely gave up on me a few times already at that point. And then when I went to buy the car, like I could have bought any car because I had saved, invested. Like I have a good amount in the bank. I could pretty much own any car I want. I chose to go with a Ford, like Fusion, and I didn't even buy a new one. I bought
Used?
Yeah, used 2016, and this was in like 2018, like a 2-3 year old one. And then I drove that, and then recently, my husband pushed me towards getting like a car that I want, and mind you, there's nothing I really want. So I got a Tesla, and I just think it's ridiculous. I pay $1,000 a month
For a Tesla.
Yeah, for a Tesla. I mean, it doesn't even matter. I just think $1,000 a month for a car is ridiculous. And every month, I just think about it, and I'm like, because I see it like, I know it's not my problem, or maybe it is or it's not, but like I see like people starving in other countries, and just to go to spend that on a car when I feel like I could do something more with it.
That's actually another part that like the abundance, people who have an abundance mindset towards money, they always think about giving back.
Really?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like all of us are here to give something back, right? You want to give back your knowledge, like we're doing here right now. We're discussing this, but we're also giving out knowledge. you want to give back something you have to others, because we're born naked, we're gonna die, like nothing's going with us anywhere, right? So people with an abundance mindset tend to do more investments. They tend to give back. They do charities and galas. Why? Because they feel the need to help. Versus people with scarcity, they don't do stuff like that, because to them the rainy day is coming and they want to put their oxygen mask on first. Because people with scarcity mindset, they're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like every day they wake up, and looking back at COVID, you're more aware of the shortages in the world. Like right now, I have two sets of friends. One set of friends is constantly talking about how we're in a recession, even though it's not labeled, how there's no more money, how people are starving. And then I have another group of friends, and I've been in both rooms, which is pretty interesting, that is saying, oh my gosh, this is the time to make money. Because people,
I agree with this group. I agree with
like this is when the rich get richer, is during these uncertain times, because this group of friends is so tight and is not willing to budge that they're not even going to see the opportunities that the world is opening up in front of them.
No, and they feel like they're probably more victim mentality.
Oh, 100%.
And they feel like, oh, honestly, I feel like we have more opportunity than we've ever had with AI and all these evolving.
And let's talk about AI for a second. I know we're going like completely off tangent, but even with AI, right? So a lot of people are using AI to their advantage, to grow their businesses, to grow their... Other people are looking at AI and saying, I'm going to be left out of a job because of AI. Why? Why are you thinking, why not use something that's delivered to you on a silver platter and use it to your advantage and build something?
And honestly, the people that are going to be put out of a job weren't meant for a job in the first place. Because if a robot can put you out, because there's so much more to humans, right, than robots. And if a robot can put you out, you're probably just labor. So labor, yeah, I would want cheaper labor, because then that would lower costs.
As a business owner, there's less overhead.
Oh yeah, I mean, less employees, less overhead. As long as you're the skilled employee, you're never going to be out of a job.
And even if you were a labored worker, maybe you can use this as an opportunity to snap out of that vicious cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and start something. There's not a single person on this planet who doesn't have a skill or a talent. It just hasn't been opened up or discovered yet. Not a single one.
Or they have the skill and the talent, but they don't have the work ethic to make the talent shine. So a lot of people have talent and a lot of people have skills, but they don't have the work ethic to put in the work to kind of make that talent like pushed forward. And I read a study actually that said someone with work ethic will outdo someone with talent any day.
100%. Because talent can get you so far. Same thing with motivation and discipline. Motivation will just get you going. Yeah. Discipline is going to keep you going. I made a reel a few months back about discipline and motivation. And it's like, motivation, you don't need that. Like, yes, you need it to just like spark that idea, but you need discipline. If you're going to say you're going to wake up at 7 a.m., that's motivation. But when you actually wake up at 7 a.m., that's discipline.
And did you see like the more promises you make to yourself that you keep creates confidence?
Yes.
So when you say you're going to wake up at 7 and you wake up at 7, you just checked something off, that a promise you kept to yourself. And if you keep doing it over and over again, you'll become more confident.
And this is when I tell some of my clients, like, if you feel like you can't trust yourself, start by putting things on your to-do list that you can complete in 5 minutes, and make them literally the first thing you should write on your to-do list is make a to-do list and cross that off immediately, because that will already get it going in your brain that you can cross things off.
That's funny.
No, try it. Write to-do list and then write the first thing, make a to-do list, and you're right there, you can check it off. And that will give your brain a sense of security that, okay, I can trust her. Now we're going to get going. And it boosts your confidence.
I could see it.
Right?
I love crossing things off.
Everybody does. It's our human nature. It's like you have something and then you're like, it's off.
Yeah. Whatever I didn't cross off, I carry on to another list. So then I can cross those off later. Like, I don't take them off the list because I didn't accomplish them. It just means I didn't have enough time. So it's not like I didn't keep the promise to myself. We talked about this. We want to make more time for, like, us. We never see each other.
That's mandatory. come on.
Yes, but it's been crazy.
How long have you guys been together?
Together or married?
Together.
Together since 2016.
Okay.
Married since 2020. But it's like we've been in school, we've been hustling, we've been working, school, this, that. Like, we don't have a minute. And then I was working night shift, and we weren't seeing each other, right? Completely different schedules. So then he goes on a night shift so we can see each other. Then I get promoted to day shift. Literally, like within, like it was a swap.
Poor man.
Yeah. And he's been working night shift ever since, and going to school, and doing 2 other jobs. So we were talking the other day. One, I want to prioritize friendships. Like, it's really important to me. Like I told you, I want to keep that 50-50 balance.
It's very important.
Yeah, it's very important. We don't have...
But what kind of friendship?
No, not any friendship. No. We don't believe in acquaintance friendships.
I feel like friendships in your adulthood should be with like-minded people.
Yes. Someone you can have business ideas with,
Exactly.
run it by them, maybe even do it with them. Those types of friends. And then like where you're adding value to the other person's life intellectually.
Oh my God, yes. Intellectual needs are like one of the 4 needs for a person. There's physiological needs, safety needs, intellectual needs.
If you just fill my intellectual needs, that's all I need.
No roof over your head, just intellectual needs.
I'm good with just that.
No food, no roof.
No, that's fine.
I agree, because intellectual needs are probably, especially now, are taking up a lot of people's desires, and because people are not being satisfied in their intellectual need pillar, they're on social media most, because why? The picture is constantly changing. It's constantly new information.
So it's making ADHD like on steroids.
Yes.
It's shortening our attention span, like 2 seconds, and we're just like...
Yep. And now the videos are becoming shorter and shorter because... And now that there's hooks and titles to grab someone within the 2 seconds.
I don't even think people can sit and have a 30-minute conversation.
It's nearly
I don't
impossible.
even think they know what to talk about.
Without pulling your phone out, at least once.
Yeah, and that's what I want to like work on more. Like friends where you don't want to look at your phone. The
there's
interaction
2 types of people. Like
is so interesting.
One that you're constantly on your phone when the
right?
And then there's the other
that's
one
not the friend I want.
And then there's another one where you don't even know what day it is, what time
Exactly.
it is, what planet are we on. You're just so focused. I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what time it is.
Even last time we went out, like time was flying by.
I know.
I think you were late to something even.
I mean, I sat through traffic because of you, but it's okay.
Means a lot.
And that was the first time I was meeting you.
Yeah. And stuff like that, like just, I don't know. And then like-minded individuals, work ethic has to be aligned. If your work ethic isn't aligned, I don't think you could be friends.
If you're a hustler by nature, there's no way you can sit next to a person who doesn't want to do anything. And the more I'm growing in my business and the more I'm meeting like-minded people, the less tolerance I have towards people who don't want to do anything with their life. Mm-hmm. Because to me, and to each their own, of course, I'm not belittling anyone, but to me, it's not about I've come here, I'm okay. It's about what more can I do? Bring more value, invest more into myself, learn more, earn more, because there's just so much out in the world. And sometimes when people talk to me and say like, aren't you just like, you finished your degree, you got a job, like, why did you leave? Because I see so much more potential. First of all, I don't believe...
Because you want to bank on yourself.
Exactly. Because I want to bank on myself, because I think the world is an interesting place. Because I think, and I don't know what you think on this, but I think every person should have at least 3 to 5 things that they can fall back on. Mm-hmm. That they know how to do at least. Mm-hmm. Right?
I think it's a curse and a blessing at the same time from my personal experience, because I feel like I could do anything. Mm-hmm. So then I try to do everything. And then that's why I have no time. It's so overwhelming.
What do you think about having more? How many income streams do you think a person should have?
However many they can keep up with.
What's the minimum?
Minimum?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put my eggs in one basket. 3?
3?
Yeah.
3. I've heard somewhere that like millionaires have like 7
I'm
income streams.
sure. I'm sure. I think, okay, money brings money, right?
Of course.
So once you have money, it's easy to invest in things that probably don't even need your time or attention, and they'll just bring you money. Like maybe
Like stocks are
like
fine.
a investment property
Or
or
like
stocks, or maybe you put a bunch of money in an annuity, and it's like you don't even think about it, and it just generates you money. You don't even have to look at it because it won't go down; it'll just go up. Certain things like that. So money brings money, right? So once
money
someone
likes movement.
yeah, money likes motion, money likes movement. So once someone reaches a certain like threshold of money, they have more money to play with. So it's easier to get 7, 9, 10, 11, 12 streams of income because you have the money.
It's so funny that when you talk to millionaires, I don't know if you've ever heard, I'm sure you have heard, how do people make their first million is like nearly impossible to get from people. It's always the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth million.
Yeah,
That's
because
shared
money makes money.
Exactly. But how people get to their first, it's like people don't really talk about that.
I think they get by it by like grabbing and holding on to as much as they can, and like it's a fight to get to the million. And I remember growing up, my dad would say 100,000, and that became a million. My dad would say, once you get to your 100,000, the rest is easy. And this was like growing up as a kid, he would always say this. And then now I like look at him like, once you get to a million, probably the rest is easy.
And then you look at your 5 million, and then it's the 10
Yeah,
million.
because money just
Kevin O'Leary was talking about the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he got to the 5 million and then the 10 million. And then he was like, once I got to the 100, I was like, oh, well, that's easy.
And Kevin says like there's two things he really likes. He likes to be in two like ventures, which is people's death, like because people are so emotional. He loves to be when people are emotionally spending. So he likes weddings, and he likes like death because people when people die don't look at how much a casket costs or this or that. They're so emotionally like, here, take it. And flowers like for that. They don't look at how much the flower costs. They're doing it for the person, right? Wedding too. They feel like it's that part of their life that money doesn't matter. So he likes to be part of those ventures, and that's how he's created such success. Yeah, where people are super emotional about money and stupid is where he capitalizes.
Well, speaking of weddings, let's talk about relationships and money.
Let's talk about weddings too.
Oh, weddings. Oh my God. I didn't want a wedding. Did you want a wedding?
No, I didn't want a wedding either.
I didn't want a wedding. I was too busy in pharmacy school. I didn't care for what, to me, those amounts that they were talking about.
It was ridiculous.
Was absolutely ridiculous. I could not comprehend why would I spend, like people were changing the floor of the banquet hall for $10,000. To me, $10,000 was a dream vacation back then.
It still is.
Still is, yeah. But $10,000 for one day for a floor that you like $10,000 you can change flooring in your whole house and keep it for 10 years. That's where I was
didn't even
thinking.
think about that.
That's what I was thinking because that's where I would want to spend $10,000 so I can build value on my house. I can have a floor to walk in for 10 years instead of just people dance, forget, and leave. I didn't want a wedding.
So how much do you think that one day is worth spending?
Honestly, I think, like looking back at it, I would just want like very simple, like just go celebrate with parents, and I would maybe spend like maybe 1 month's income.
So how, if you don't mind me asking,
No, back then,
how much did you end up spending?
Oh, over 100.
Over $100,000 on one day.
Yeah.
So you regret it.
100. I didn't want it.
You didn't want it then, and like you feel like your parents kind of pushed you into it.
Yeah. It's really not worth it.
You know, I feel like if they weren't so like
Self-cautious.
No, if they weren't so like stubborn and we asked them, do you regret it? Everybody would say yeah. Like if they were honest with themselves.
Really? I feel like no.
No? You don't think people regret?
I think they would regret it?
I think everybody would regret
like
it.
some girls
do you feel like you regret it?
I didn't want it. So do I regret it? Yes. Do I regret spending that much money on one day? Absolutely. But do I feel like there are some people out there who literally, like I know girls who literally open their wedding album every month and just look at it because it was their dream. I didn't grow up with that dream. I didn't.
Yeah, I never imagined
really,
the wedding like a certain way.
Didn't really care about wearing a wedding dress. I didn't.
Me too.
I just cared about finding the guy and being with the man who understands me and has the same core values, and we have the bigger picture, the same bigger picture together. That's what I cared for. And once I found that, I didn't.
What did your husband think of the whole wedding thing?
I feel like me and him were more on the same page. He also looked at it more as an opportunity to invest into like property. At that time, we didn't have a house, so we thought like now would be a good time to buy, which looking back, it was a good time to buy, better than when we bought. But yeah, we were both on the same page, but it was just a no-go.
But that's another thing. Like, I feel like it's such a problem. Family has such a big influence on decision making. And why? If this is the start of something new, it's the two of you. So why is it not what you guys want?
And not even the wedding. I feel like a lot of people's, like, okay, wedding is like one day, right? But a lot of people's family is oozing into the newlyweds marriages. And I'm seeing that a lot with my clients and clients who live with their parents. Do you live with
I live with my in-laws.
Do you live with the in-laws?
Yeah, with pleasure.
With pleasure. Oh, that's a
Yeah, we can talk about it.
refreshing. I would love to.
Yeah, my husband actually would love to move out the next day if he could.
So you're the one who's choosing to live
Yeah,
with
I
them.
really like living with my in-laws.
And what about, if you don't mind me, we can cut
Well,
this
I
off
come
later.
from a family that's divorced, so I didn't really get a family dynamic growing up. They divorced when I was pretty young, so I feel like I'm living that now and I enjoy
Like
it.
the whole family.
Yeah, like even the arguing is enjoyable to me, where my husband's just like, I'm like, it's a family dynamic, like it's enjoyable. That, and then just like, I like the help.
Okay.
I like
Well, you're super busy, so.
Yes, so I like not having to think about like whether the trash pickup is what
done.
day it is and
Got
this and that. Like I like that. And then on top of that, like I just, yeah, I
You
can't.
don't think it's interfering with you guys' relationship?
This is that we're super busy, so really it doesn't matter. Like if I was gonna be this busy, even actually it would interfere worse. Like I don't even know when I'd be home to pay the gardeners.
I see. So you look at it as more of like a blessing.
It's a blessing. It enables me to be who I am today because I can dedicate more time to me.
How would you feel about staying in that situation if you ever were to have kids?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
No,
Why?
hell no.
What changed?
Because I don't want too many opinions of how I should raise my kid. And that would be a fight, right? Because now it's like everybody's putting their input into one human being that's developing.
And it is hard on them. It's hard on the kid too,
Yeah, and
because they
you
don't
know,
know
like-
who's the mom, like which woman is the mother figure, which man is the father figure.
Exactly.
So they're very confused.
And
Okay.
grandparents, like, and then I don't want it to be like everybody has a say into because that's my child and I want to raise them the way I want to raise them. That dynamic I would probably leave already.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when I would leave, when I'm ready to have a child.
Okay.
Because I feel like, yeah, the extra help I would love the extra help, don't get me wrong, but with the extra help comes like these people, even though they're great people,
I mean,
are
if
now
they're putting in the help,
influencing
of course, they
your
have the
child.
right to, right? If they're putting in the help.
See, that's
to
the
them.
argument I don't want to have, which is why I'll be out.
Exactly, because
But
if they're
yeah,
helping,
they
they have
can-
the full right to put in their 2 cents when it comes to the kid, when it comes to anything.
So I won't be there to know all that yet.
Okay, but there are couples who stay and then their
Yeah.
finances get
See,
affected.
like for us, it's not a financial decision to stay.
It's more of a lifestyle decision.
It's more of a lifestyle. Another thing is we love to travel, right? We'll be gone 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So who's going to take care of our house? I don't want it to be empty. These are all things we talked about. Another thing is,
But you talked about it.
yeah, we talked about it because it's an argument between us. He wants to move and I don't.
I love this.
And another thing is, so mind you, so 5 years, the first 2 years I worked night shift, which means that I wouldn't be home at nights and he would be home alone. And then the next 3 years, I'm home alone and he's working night shift. So that house would literally just be me at night there alone. So I actually really, really enjoy having other people there because even when they're not there and they're like gone for the weekend, I just don't feel comfortable.
I mean, that's
I
understandable.
don't want to be home alone at night, sleeping there by myself.
Yeah, and
So-
you guys are not there most of the time, so.
Yeah, so that's why it just works for us because of the night shift, because of the busy schedules, because of like,
But it's very refreshing. Usually the girls are the ones who want to leave, and the guy's the one who's forcing them to
I'm telling
stay.
you, I feel like I'm being honest. I feel like I wanted and kind of craved and missed that family dynamic.
But how about your finances? Do your in-laws have anything to say about that?
No, they don't have no idea of our finances. They don't even.
So your finances are joint.
Me and my husband? No.
It's separate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So because we don't have financial issues, I feel like it's just super easy to kind of like not care like how we've been doing it. Our finances are separate, but we don't view each other's money as separate. Like
Right.
it is all one. Like there's no mine or yours. Just because we have separate accounts because we have separate businesses and we don't commingle funds, that doesn't mean, and we've never needed to tap into the other person's fund because we're both very financially savvy. We don't see it as like mine or yours. It's just the way it worked out.
Do you recommend people open joint accounts when they get
I don't know. It just depends because it can cause a lot of issues, right? If someone's a spender and someone's a saver, you're going to have a bunch of arguments and you're kind of going to lose your identity because if you want to spend, you're going to feel like I need to ask them.
You're spending kind of like not your money.
Yeah. So I feel like the right way to do it is like a joint account where you guys are both contributing and keep your separate accounts where the other person like doesn't need to know like if you want to buy something you wanted to buy and they could buy whatever they wanted to buy because it's your money.
I agree. We personally also have separate accounts, and not once did it ever cross our minds that we should have joint.
Yeah.
We opened one joint account. I don't even remember how long ago, and we both forget to put money in there, and it just goes like zero at all times because we're so busy, like just like you said, financially savvy. We know exactly what we're all responsible for, so it's like all the amount is mutual, but the accounts are not. And sometimes when I share this with people, they look at me like,
Oh,
I'm an
really?
alien. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it wasn't normal.
So to me, to hear that someone else has separate accounts is also
We have like 900 accounts.
no. But I mean, like
Like we have 900. We have a trust account where like our trust is building equity. We have my account. We have my business's account. With my other business's account. He has his business account. His other business's account. Like we just because wherever the income comes from flows into that account. It just like
and then it goes recirculates.
well, the thing is, it just so if it's for that business and then whatever expense the business has, it takes from that account. So we don't like really.
If it's a business account.
Yeah, and we pretty much only have business accounts, so we don't really.
So it works. But no, some people have looked at me like I'm an alien. Like, what do you mean? You guys should have a joint account. That's
Why?
what builds I guess, a trust. Like,
I think it
Why
works
would
for
you?
people who don't both like carry their weight. The joint.
maybe.
Yeah, because I don't see a reason. And honestly, if I like call them today, be like, "Hey, I need 10K," it would maybe ask
wired.
me like one more question, like.
What's the security code? Just so I know you're not kidnapped.
And both ways. Like I think the other day he was like, "Hey, do you have this much money? I want to put it into crypto, and like all my funds are tied up." And I was like, and he knew I had like funds in my Robinhood. I was like, "Here, just do whatever you want." Like, it doesn't matter. And then it probably comes from abundance versus scarcity mindset.
100%. Because if you had the scarcity mindset, there's no way you're doing that.
Oh yeah, like I could care less. And mind you, my personality is very careless about money. Careless in a way
I
where.
wouldn't say you're careless about money.
Let me reiterate careless. Like I have no idea. Like I don't log into my account multiple times a week. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you're kind of spending it like a gift card.
No, I don't even spend.
Oh, you just accumulate it.
Yeah, I just accumulated. I have no idea what today's balance is. I have no idea what's coming in.
Because you're not living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
If you were, you would know exactly how much money you have in your bank account. You would know exactly how much you need to give away.
Yeah.
And that's going to build that scarcity mindset. But because you're already so established financially, it doesn't matter to you. So
yeah, and it's like if you need more money, you're just going to work a little more.
Exactly. But that's one thing people don't want to admit and don't want to do. They want more money. What's the first thing they do?
Cry.
Cry.
When I hear you're so lucky, and I hear this often, like I don't even like the word cringe, but nothing cringes me more when I hear the words, "Oh, you went to I don't know where, Italy, you're so lucky. How am I lucky?
work.
Work and go.
Like, it's
go,
open
the ticket,
there.
I'll show you how to buy it.
Google Flights.
It's not like a
Work.
North Korea where I got in somehow.
I cannot, I cannot, like, I hate when I'm being called lucky, because every time I hear the word lucky, I literally remember like a few moments in my life flash before my eyes where I was literally on the floor crying from exhaustion and being so overwhelmed because I was studying in downtown at Keck Medicine. And then I would drive from downtown USC. I would drive to Santa Clarita at 5 p.m. It would take me 2 hours because it was like insane traffic. I would drive, get there at 7 p.m., work until 1 a.m. because I was working where the urgent care was. So I wasn't able to leave until the last patient left. And we never know when they're getting admitted. And I would come home at 1 or 2 a.m. exhausted, to wake up at 5 a.m., study for a test, go give that test, and repeat that day over again. I eventually collapsed on the 75th day of like literally not an hour off. I was done. And every time I hear the word lucky, just because I am now, after 13 years, I am now
Lucky.
I am now able to have a cup of coffee in a cafe on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. But even though I'm having coffee at 1 p.m., I worked in the morning and I'm probably going to work until 9 or 10 p.m. But they only see that 1 p.m. and this, like, it's literally like a photograph. It's this time, this place, and that's it. There's nothing
They don't
else
see all the years of work you put in to be this person you are today. Same with me. I had my government job, would wake up 5 a.m., be at work, get off like 3 p.m., traffic to Cal State LA, go to class, get off at 10. Mind you, it was my boyfriend at the time. I would still want to go see him for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Get there like 10:30, see him for an hour, go home, study, fall asleep like 2 a.m., wake up back at 5 again, and just keep doing
And
it
how long did you do that for?
over and over again for like 9 years.
And you're lucky.
And I'm so lucky.
Be-
I'm so
But
lucky.
that word, like, how
The
else would
harder
you
you work-
justify someone else that you don't like making it in life? You cannot justify it by
No, I
hard
think
work.
they truly believe it's luck.
Yeah,
I think when they're saying it, they mean that you're lucky. So I always tell my mother-in-law this because she likes that word luck too. It really cringes me. And I go like, the harder I work, the luckier I
tend to get. Yes.
I seem to be. So I'm just working hard to be lucky.
I actually had one friend, had the keyword here, that she literally told me once, like, why do you even, and back then I was working so much because I really wanted a residency, and to get into a residency you need work experience. So I was killing myself. And she literally said, well, if you care about me, you wouldn't be working so much. And we would be going out because a friend, because every time my friends would ask me out, again, lucky, I would never go out with friends. I would never do anything because I was either studying or I was going to work. And every time I would say, like, every time I would be invited, the answer was no, sadly.
Me too. I didn't have a life. All my high school friends, I had to stop hanging out with them.
Oh,
because there was not enough time in the day for me to hang out with people.
And now looking back as to where you are and where those people that call you lucky are, you see that maybe I am lucky that I actually stuck with my gut feelings. I stuck with whatever I thought was the best for me. And I'm
still working way harder than those types of people.
Oh,
they're still enjoying
but that's
life.
In you. That's blood. But eventually that dies.
I also think they were given a better hand in life to like start building on, or my hand didn't have anything in it.
My hand was completely
empty. It was completely empty. And if you were given like a little bit of a hand in life, I feel like, yeah, you could enjoy life. Like, I hope my kids don't have to do what we did.
I agree. I think every generation should be better than the generation before. And even like you said, your hand was empty, so was mine. But now when I'm meeting people, I don't know why it comes off that way, but
they think your hand was full because
my hand was full, or I just ended up marrying rich, which is just so funny to me because me and my husband have been together since we were 15.
Oh yeah.
And our first date was in a Ford Focus of 1980 something, and neither of us had that hand. We built whatever we have from scratch together. And to hear things of like, oh, she married rich, must be nice. She's having that 1 p.m. coffee. It is nice because I worked for it. Because you have that opportunity
and you'll enjoy it
too.
more.
And I enjoy it more. And this goes to that one thing we were talking about last time about like people working for stuff and how much they enjoy it versus people who are just given it and their enjoyment level to it.
Can we talk about how it brought up a topic and it's been like one that's been lingering in my head?
Go.
Can we talk about how girls want like a ready-made man, like to just like
I feel like
marry? And
I feel like girls are gonna cancel us.
so I feel like people look at my husband and they see this super successful, super like good looking and stuff, but like would they have been the girl where he had nothing? Would they have been the person where like we had nothing? For his birthday, I bought 6 Flags season passes with food, and we spent the whole year in 6 Flags, like the entire year, every day was at 6 Flags. Would they have been that person? Now that someone's successful, established, everybody's like, oh man, you're so lucky. Again, it goes back to luck.
Men are not a checklist. That's what they're being viewed as. And what do you have to bring to the table? Why would any guy who's checking off every single item you have on your list choose you? Yeah. Why? What do you have to bring that's so in line with someone like that, who's so wealthy, who's so well put together, who cares about their health, who cares about their financial stability, who cares about their future? Why would they choose you? Let's look at you and what you bring to the table. You don't care about your health. All you want to do is party, for example, right? So why would a guy that checks off all those things off your list?
Yeah, what do you bring to the table?
What do you bring to the table? And girls are going more into the mindset of enough. And
oh yeah, take me or leave me. This is me. Like they're perfect. They have nothing to change. That's another thing. People don't want to change.
No.
They think they're perfect.
Everybody thinks they're perfect, and everybody thinks that it's a privilege to know them.
And it's their problem. If they don't like them, it's their problem.
Yes. But honestly, the more I see guys now, like if they're getting together at a later age, guys and girls, there's a huge disconnect in core values. There's a huge disconnect in where they see their life in 10 years. And people don't talk about that, like especially on dates. I feel like it should be normalized to have a set of questions you ask the other person on dates. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And not what your favorite movie is, for example, right? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are your core, like, what's important to you? What your love language is? Because if that's not aligning, if you're not seeing the same bigger picture, then you're not going to make it that far.
I feel like people are just settling to settle.
And that's very unfortunate because those people are then ending up in couples therapy. Those are the people divorces, depression rates.
And then they're bringing kids into the world. And then like 2 years after marriage, they're just like calling it quits. And this kid is like 1. And I'm just like.
Because why? They don't talk. Because
they don't communicate.
No questions have been asked. No answers have been given. I have friends and I know people who live, for example, with their in-laws that they thought it was going to be like a 2-week thing after the wedding. And we're 5 years in. Why? Because nothing was communicated.
Damn.
Yeah.
That must be rough.
That is rough.
But that's the thing. It's all mindset. Like, it's all in your mind. People ask me, like, how do you do it? I don't let anything get to me.
It is in your mind. But it has to be in your mind when you know yourself. You have to know yourself. Like truly.
I think people are lying to themselves about who they are. That's the main thing. That's the disconnect.
Because you're not lying to anyone else, right?
Yeah, you're just lying to yourself.
The first person you're lying to is yourself. With absolutely everything, the first person you're ever lying to is yourself. Whether or not your bag is real, whether or not your money's in your account.
Oh yeah, you were telling me how like it significantly decreases your confidence if you buy fake stuff.
Significantly, because why do you buy fake stuff? Why would you invest, let's say $20, right? Let's say $200. If you're going to invest $200 and buy a fake bag that costs in reality like $2,000-$3,000, that means you want the bag, right? But you don't have the means, so you're going to go
and fake it,
and you're going to end up faking it for yourself, and that's going to crush you because now you no longer have that desire for that $2,000-3,000 back, because what you wanted, what you thought you deserved was 2,000-3,000. You ended up giving yourself 200, and now you don't even want to work for 2,000-3,000 because you're slowly getting okay with the 200. And that's tanking you. That's tanking your confidence. That's tanking your self-esteem. You are literally like slowly destroying your being. You as an individual, you're going down the drain.
I hate when people say I can't have that, or like whenever I talk about like, oh, this designer, oh, that I can never get that. I'm like, why can't you? Just work harder.
There is unlimited amount of money in this
work
world.
harder and get it. Oh no, they can never have that. It's not a possibility for them. How is it not a possibility for them?
If I can have it,
you can have it. So anything I can do, you can probably do better.
Exactly. So go do it.
Yeah.
But people don't want to be seen. People don't want to work. People
don't want to get out of their comfort.
Nobody wants to get out of their comfort zone. I meet people on a daily basis, and one of the biggest things I show on my Instagram is me personally getting out of my comfort zone. What we did the other day was not in my comfort zone.
I can't wait.
But did we do it? Yes. Did I get out of my comfort zone? I'm sure it was uncomfortable for you either.
Yeah.
But did we do it? Yes.
So, I love doing things that make me uncomfortable.
And you
you get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
You do it enough time. None of us were born doing things. You were not born walking. You stood up, you crawled, you sat, you crawled, you fell all over again until walking became comfortable. Now you don't think about it anymore.
Exactly.
Same thing with absolutely everything. When you opened your social media, were you comfortable in front of the camera?
I'm still uncomfortable. I'm still not comfortable.
But you're not letting your uncomfort stop you.
No, if anything, I'm letting it thrive, and I'm letting it fuel me to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm uncomfortable is literally count to 5, because I know, like, okay, if I count to 5, those 5 seconds are over, which means I survive, which means I can handle another 5 more minutes.
There you go. I just tell myself, like, get the out of this and go. Like, I just like give myself like a little pep talk in my head and like, you got this. You can do anything.
You know what helps too? Like constantly thinking that no matter what, you're gonna be in your bed tonight. No matter what happens in that day,
you're still gonna survive.
You'll survive. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how uncomfortable it gets, no matter how many times you get rejected, you'll survive. You're gonna go back.
You know what else it is? We've done so many things that make us uncomfortable, and our tolerance is so like high for these things. Like with school, that. 100%. Like our uncomfortable levels are at another level because we've done so many things. Like I remember someone said like, "Oh, hey, can you give this speech?" And I was like, I gave a speech to the director of the, you know what? I'm like, of course, the speech is nothing. But since I've done this becomes nothing to me, right? So the more you do, the more it'll be easier for you to do.
One of the most scariest things I've done was my residency interview at USC. And I knew it was a 4% acceptance rate. And I had no idea how many people are going to be in the room. But before I walked into that room, they told me there's like 20 people sitting there. Don't freak out. And I felt like my body and my mind completely disconnected at that moment for me to be able to survive that. So I walked in and I noticed there's 20 people that are all professionals in what they do, and they're all specialists in what they do, that are about to ask me questions for an hour straight. And after that, now that I'm seeing anything or I have to make a decision on
interviews are probably a joke.
It's a yes, because I interviewed in front of 20 plus people. All questions were directed at me, all questions in their areas of specialty, and I had to answer that. So I put myself through that. So now interviews to me are like,
nothing.
Okay, like how many people you got? 5, 10? Okay, we got this. Let's go.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's just people.
It's like a lot of times like people look at the other person as inferior or superior, and a lot of times people are having trouble, for example, asking for a promotion or asking for, because you look at your boss as a superior. But that needs to stop and be equal, because everybody's a human and you're not there to get their money and leave. You put in the work.
You deserve it. If you feel like you deserve it, you will ask.
If you feel like you deserve it, you will ask. If you love yourself, you will ask. Because
if you value yourself,
exactly,
you will ask.
But you also need to show something for it, right? We're not just talking about you're like sitting and not doing anything and then you just go and ask for a raise. But people people are afraid of people because they put them more
They're
superior.
afraid of rejection.
They're afraid of rejection.
That's what it is. They're afraid of being rejected. It's the worst thing that can happen to them. So they're scared of trying. There's this like quote from Cinderella that I live by.
Oh, what is it?
Don't let the fear of striking out stop you from playing the game.
I love that.
Yeah. And I live by this quote.
I honestly love that. And
that's what it is. That's what goes back to what you were saying.
People are afraid. Everything goes into death. That's the last thing they're afraid of. And even rejection, like they think they'll get rejected, they won't be able to survive it. Death. Rejection equals death. Like constantly. That's one of the things, like in a lot of psychology classes that's being taught, is that every fear leads to death. Like fear of heights, you'll fall, you'll die, right? Like everything. And rejection too. People will reject you. You won't survive as a human on this planet, like as an individual. You're no longer on this planet. You're done. You're dead. So and that's actually a thing, you can look it up. And rejection ends up
Equals to death to them.
Yeah, and
because they care about what other people think.
Yes, and
That's
if someone is not, and if you feel like, if you do care about what other people think and you're not liked, can you imagine? If you truly
that's death to you.
That's literally death. You're dying as an individual.
Thank you guys. This wraps up our podcast. Please comment, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up.
Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Dr. Metz. Make sure you guys follow. It's at Dr. Anna Metz.